How's it going, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Q-Draft 101 with me, Jamie from Scrub Games, covering this time the Archtype Maidens. Now, just a brief overview if you haven't seen my previous videos. In this series, I've been covering cube drafting, either how to help you build a cube, draft a cube, or go into more detail about how to help choose what cards to put in your cube or what cards to pick when drafting. And in one of the videos I wanted archetypes, but I wanted a brief overview to cover what archetypes are in the cube, in my cube mainly, and what archetypes are good to add to your cube if you want to build one. And in this video I'm going to cover in more detail the Maiden archetype. So to get started, I'm going to go over the first lot, which are the floaters. So if you don't know what floaters are, it's a term that I've taken from when I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh, and it refers to a card that, when removed, replaces itself with a never card. So, these three will join, and also so there's a never card that we're going to go over later in the video. These all cards in the same effect, which is the second effect, which is the second auto, or in Cocoon's case, her only auto, which is when this card is removed from your battle area by an opponent's skill or KO'd, you can choose up to one green. Choose up to one green battle card with energy cost of 4 or less. A cost less than their energy. So for Ribrianne, it'd be 4 costs or less. Rabanra, 3 costs or less. Cocoon's 2 costs or less. And you choose them from your drop area and play it with the skills negated for the turn. Now this is very strong, just because of the fact that you basically replace themselves. So if when you play them, when they're removed, you get to play a new card back to field. And notice as well that it just says green battle card. It doesn't say mono green, so it can be any card that fits the cost given specified in the effect. As long as it has green in that card and it meets the specified level, you can play it with that card. So Ribrianne, as long as the card is 4 costs or less than the green in it, so being mono green, blue green, yellow green, or red green, you can bring out the effect, which is very, very good. And then you all have their separate effects. As Cocoon's basically her other effect is she has critical, but that's very good because it's a 15k critical for free energy and only requires 1 specified green. Then with Rabanra, its other auto is when you play itself, your opponent chooses 2 cards in hand and places in the drop area. So it's 4 energy, you're making it discard 2. And it's a 20, and you're still getting a 20k body. And if removed by your opponent, you basically play something new. And being a 4 cost 20k means it's not the worst investment, and also decent for its cost to power ratio. And then Ribrianne, probably one of the strongest green cards in the cube. It's a triple strike with a nice permanent similar to a Deadly Defender, meaning that if your leader is the same color as itself, and it's in rest mode, your opponent can only attack this card. So with Deadly Defenders saying that in similar conditions, it being the leader being the same color, and the card being in rest mode, your opponent can't attack your leader. This doesn't say your opponent can't attack a leader, just that they have to attack this. They can't attack anything else, just this. And its other auto, which makes it really strong, is when you play it, choose all your opponent's battle cards, ignore and barrier, and KO them. So this is the only true board wipe in the cube. Like, you do have Kami in black, but that requires your opponent to have a certain amount of battle cards on the field, and also only hits a certain level, being 4 or less. Now these are all very strong cards, and if I'm drafting green, almost an instant pick. And even then, Ribrianne sometimes is a hate pick. If you don't know what a hate pick is where you take the card because you don't want anybody else having it. And in my cube, it's Highlander, meaning there's only 1 copy of any card in the cube. So if I take Ribrianne, I know no one else has Ribrianne to use against me. The next lot we got, the other Maidens we have, is the removal. So Maidens have a good amount of removal, all being 4 costs, outside of Ribrianne being all 4 costs or less, 4 cost. So we have Ribrianne Boundless Heart, which is one that goes for barrier, which is very good. We got Ribrianne Massive Love, which is one you can arrival in, that hits a 4 cost or less, but also not just when it's played, but when it's removed from your battle area by a skill, either by your opponent's skill or by you using a skill like, say, Successor to remove it. And the last one we have Cocoon's Beastly Maiden, which is a counter attack, which basically means you negate the attack and play itself. Has a permanent of if your leader card's green and it's your opponent's turn, it becomes a 2 cost instead of 4. And when it's played, its auto triggers to choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. So all of these you can either hard cast for 4 energy as removal, but then and while Ribrianne, Massive Love, and Kuza Beast and Maiden could be played cheaper because of their effects, they don't go for Barrier, whereas at least Boundless Heart has the benefit over those of going through Barrier. Now the next part we have is the Ever Universe 2 or Maiden cards. So Zerloin is the one where I was talking about, which should be in the floaters, but I forgot all about its third effect, but it still has 3 very strong effects. So it's a 5 cost 30k, which might not seem the best, paying 5 energy for 30k. It is totally worth it, and the reason why is all its autos, which is the first one, just to quickly say, the third one is basically the same as Ribrianne's second auto, which once you move your battle layer by a skill or KO'd, you play a green battle card that's 4 cost less from your drop barrier, but its skill's negated. Now that ties in well with the second auto, but with its first auto, which makes it very, very strong, is when you play it, you can choose up to 1 green battle card from your hand with energy cost of 4 or less and play it, which means you get up to 9 energy worth of cards for 5 energy, which is very strong. And to make it even better, if you drafting red green, it works very well with a rival. Alliance, because of the fact that Alliance, if you didn't know, Alliance is a keyword skill that triggers like an auto when you attack, where you can choose any number of green and or red battle cards. So if they're mono green, mono red, or red and green battle cards that you control, switch in the rest, and you gain that much power basically that card gains that much power from the cards that you've rested with the Alliance skill, and maybe has a different extra effect, like say the Piccolo burns your opponent for 1 if they have draws 2 cards, and burns your opponent for 1 if they have 3 or less life. The Liqueur minuses 2 things on your opponent's side of the board by 20k and draws you 2 cards. Gohan burns your opponent for 1 and makes it so they have to take a life if they want to play anything for 20k or less. You can play all these out with this card, which then you basically, for 5 energy, you play the Alliance card and this card, and then can have this ready to use for Alliance to give that card a 30k boost and trigger Alliance. Now the other cards we got is we have Pale, Confidence and Supremacy, which is a very strong card, because just like Zerlon, it generates more cost on the board than you pay. So, like with Zerloin, when you play this card, choose the one your opponent's battle. Oh, when you play this card, choose the 1 green battle card with energy cost of 3 or less, and you drop area and play it with its skills negated. So this means for 3 energy, you can get 6 energy cost of battle cards, which is either good for if you're playing Successor, or depending on what battle card you bring out, is very good. Like if you bring out the Android 18 Deadly Defender, you then have Deadly Defender, because once you swing with it, then your opponent's turn, it gets its effects back, it gets its skills back. And being 1 specified green means it's easy to play, and you don't have to think too much about your energy when playing it. Then next we have Zarbuto, Heroic Stance. So this is one of the many 1-drop Self-Awakeners, and so for 1 energy, you can take when it attacks, you can take a life, and it gains it becomes a 15k double striker. Very strong card. Very good to grab if you're playing green and you need Self-Awakening. And Helez Sawar, this is the pseudo checkland, sort of. It's a secondary type of checkland for green yellow. And what I mean by that is when you charge it, if you've got a green and yellow card, if you've got 1 green and 1 yellow card in your drop area, you can warp them to negate its energy exhaust, which means it comes in active instead of resting your energy. But not only that, you can use if you decide to play it as a battle card instead of charging it. It does have the good effect of, for 1 green and 1 yellow energy, you can choose up to 2 green or yellow battle cards with energy cost of 2 or less in your hand. Play them with the skills negated for the turn, and then your opponent chooses 1 card in your hand and places it in your drop area. So you can either use it to play potentially the best you can do with that is for 2 energy, play 2 skillless battle cards, like either 2 greens, 2 yellows, or a green and a yellow, and then make your opponent discard 1. So 4 energy, for 2 energy, or 4 energy investment total, because you pay 2 to play it, you can bring out 4 energy worth of battle cards and make your opponent discard 1, which is pretty good in my book, and my eyes as well. But that's it. That's all for Maidens. Like, this was a shorter one than normal because there's not many Maidens that are generic enough to go in the cube. If there was a better Maidens or Universe 2 leader, maybe it'd be more playable. But at the moment we haven't. I'm just waiting for when we get the rebooted Red Brown leader, hopefully at some point in the future, and more Maiden support as well, and within green, because I love the Archtype. But that's everything for the Archtype. Next one we're going, I can't remember what it is, but we're going to go over another Archtype in the next video for the Cube Draft 101 series. But thank you for watching. Like if you enjoyed the video and found it useful. Comment if there's anything I missed or didn't cover, and I can either cover it in a comment or a new video. And lastly, subscribe to my channel. Keeps you updated with my videos, mainly covering cube drafting, deck profiles, and hopefully soon some gameplay footage as well of things like my launch deck and things like that. But thank you for watching all this time, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.